Hi, welcome to video 3 of our integration series for Specialist Maths Unit 4, and we're now going to move on to example 6. And in the previous video we're talking about the why when you derive or integrate sine inverse, cos inverse, etc. we get certain things, but now we're just going to do a couple of examples. So let's first look at what is the maximal domain of sine inverse of x. So I like to start with this, something like this: y equals sine inverse of x, which I think is what I just said, has a maximal domain of x has to be greater than or equal to -1, less than or equal to 1. This can also be written as square brackets -1, comma 1, and it is square brackets because if you flip it around to x equals sine of y, we get y's maximums 1 and -1. And then if we do the little stretch, the dilation of x over 3, that's a dilation of 3 horizontally, stretching it out, so we get -3 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 3, or -3 to 3. Now, of course, we could still add values in there, and that might change things a bit more if we so desired. That's A. B, the gradient at the y-intercept. So if y equals sine inverse of x, well then dy dx, or y dash, is equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. Therefore, if y equals sine inverse of x over 3, then dy dx equals 1 over, I'll say therefore quite loosely really, 3 squared minus x squared, because it's not obvious that goes to 3, but the rule is x over a is a squared there. 3 squared over x squared, which is of course 9. That's our gradient function. Now we want to know what is the gradient at the y-intercept, and the y-intercept occurs when x equals 0. So we know that the y-intercept at x equals 0, y equals sine inverse of 0, which has many answers, but the answer we're looking for is sine inverse of 0 is also 0. So it goes, we know here, it goes through the origin. And at 0, dy dx, and I'll write this down here, at y x equals 0, dy dx is equal to 1 over square root of 9 minus 0, which is 1 over the square root of 9, which is 1/3. So the gradient at that point, x equals 0, which is the y-intercept, is 1/3, and that occurs at the origin, although I don't think the question asks us to find that. So that's example 6. And there's our work for 11b. I hope that makes sense, and of course ask your teacher if you have any questions. All the best.